Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to another live panel discussion hosted by Bytro. My name is Cecilia Luna. I do business development and PR at Bytro, and I couldn't be more delighted to be moderating this session surrounding a very interesting and relatively new topic, which is TikTok advertising. Here with me, I have 4 experts in the topic, 2 representing TikTok and 2 representing Bytro. Let's get to know them, shall we? So all the way from Berlin and representing TikTok, we have Mateo. Hello, Mateo. How are you? How's it going?
Hi, Cecilia. Very good. And I'm really excited to be here, taking part of this panel. Thanks a lot again for the invitation.
You're very welcome.
A quick intro about myself. I'm Mateo. I'm leading the apps and games vertical on our monetization team in TikTok Berlin. And I joined the company approximately 1 year ago.
Awesome. Thanks for the introduction, Mateo, and we are super happy to have you here. Now, all the way from Barcelona and representing Bytro, we have David Westerman. Hello, David. How are you?
Hey, Cecilia. I'm good. I'm happy that we solved the technical issues. And I'm David. I'm an online marketing manager. I've been a member of the Bytro family for the last 2.5 years.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, David. Then also representing TikTok and again from Berlin, we have olha.frank. Hey, Olha.
Hi, Cecilia. Hi, everyone. Thanks for the invitation. I'm Ola. I'm Client Solutions Manager, and I'm taking care of the gaming vertical in TikTok. And I'm with the company a bit more than a year, basically since the German office was founded.
Awesome. And lastly, but definitely not least, another colleague of mine based in Hamburg, we have Linus Otten. Hello, Linus.
Thank you, Cecilia. Hi guys, I'm Linus. I'm a senior online marketing manager at Bytro, and I've been with the team for the last 5 years.
Oh, that's awesome. So for all of you who don't know, Bytro is a German-based developer. It's a German developer based in Hamburg that makes free-to-play, cross-platform, long-term strategy war games. And some titles that you may know from us are Call of War, Supremacy 1914, and Conflict of Nations World War III. And just in case you haven't heard anything about TikTok, that I highly doubt, TikTok is a video sharing focused social network where you can find a variety of short form videos with genres from dancing, comedy, education, and way more. And in 2020, it was named one of the top 3 fastest growing companies in the world. So even though this sounds super impressive and like a no-brainer, I know from previous conversations that I have had with you guys that TikTok was not an obvious choice to advertise for Bytro at the beginning. Can we talk a little bit about that? Why did Bytro decide to explore TikTok in the first place? How did that happen?
So in the beginning, if you think of TikTok and if you think of our games, obviously we don't have heavy action games. We don't have any fast-paced casual games. And looking at our games and TikTok and what it represented back in the day, we were thinking often about, dancing teenagers or people mimicking together with songs. Obviously, the mix between our games and that is a little bit rough. I remember, so every month we have a get-together in the company where all the teams come together and say what they're going to do next. And we presented that we're going to tackle TikTok with our games. And our teams pretty much laughed at us. They found the idea ridiculous that we would have our games on TikTok. How does it make sense? What are our marketing managers thinking here? But of course, we were thinking TikTok was a huge platform, and it was also a heavily growing platform. Also, it was a platform that was diversifying itself very, very heavily. And when I mean diversifying, I don't mean TikTok itself, but I also mean the user base diversifying itself quite a lot. So we have users that talk, as I mentioned, about music and their dancing, but we also have a lot of users that talk about their niche interests like gaming, like miniature modeling, and they have different ways of talking about these things. So there's a huge variety of people that you can find on TikTok. So the idea that there's really no one on TikTok that could fit our hardcore strategy games is also kind of ridiculous at the same time. So we then decided to put our prejudices aside and just give it a go. And also, if you think of TikTok and kind of the distance that it represents towards our games, of course, it also becomes a perfect proving ground when you think about there might be a lot of users that have never been in touch with our games or also our game genre. And also, we might just have never been able to talk to these specific users that might still be interested in our games. And TikTok might just be the way to talk to these people. And that was also just a great opportunity that we didn't want to pass by. And that's why we started on TikTok in the end.
Yeah, I guess you never know how it's gonna go until you actually try, and you might surprise yourself like we did. So tell me now about how did the cooperation started? Like, how did you started communication with the TikTok account managers, first creatives, results, how it all started?
So the early beginnings were a little bit distant. Obviously, if we start a new partner, we start first in the places that we expect to be working. So we have a certain idea of what is our typical player. We're looking for a certain age, a certain gender, and we try to go for that. We also go with our typical creatives at first. So they're rather static, maybe not static, but they have very little animation. Also on a sound basis, they're very minimalistic. And that just didn't really work out also in the beginning. Also, the communication between us was rather distant, even though you, Matteo, you must have been our account manager at that time already. I don't know, how did you experience our humble beginnings on the platforms? What was your feeling, what we were doing there?
Yeah, of course. I think we got in touch back in last year, and I believe also you had maybe have a leader experience with other platform, right? You were not really sure what you could do. Everything was kind of new. And I think there was still a strong appetite for you to learn a bit more, right? To educate yourself towards what are the potential behind the platform. And I think the perfect opportunity came, if I'm not mistaken, when you had the launch of a new game, right? Or you want to test a new game in our platform that you thought it would have been a better fit or a better match with our audience, with the type of engagement you could create. And I think that was the starting point where we just had the first meeting where we gave you like a very in-depth overview about our platform features. Then also, of course, Ola came into the picture. I think she definitely had a lot of merit to what we built in the last year or so. And once we started giving you that overview, and you start testing yourself with the first campaign test, I think that's kind of started itself like a new beginning, right? A new beginning where I think your perception completely changed, and also your attitude towards trying new things was definitely a game changer in my opinion. And I think that's also the foundation of the success that we built together.
And maybe I can add here, we recognized you as an advertiser who comes to our platform with a really open mindset. And we recognize that you have a strong wish to discover, to test, and ready to experiment. And this is definitely very interesting and supportive way towards us. We know that we have a good bright range of the tools that we can offer, and when you share with us your KPIs, we were able to offer you certain specific solutions that can help you to achieve your goals.
Yeah, I would also agree that especially the launch phase of Conflict of Nations was a game changer also for our cooperation. Obviously, the game already was quite successful on desktop, and we had enormous expectations when we were planning the mobile launch back in the day, and obviously with our expectation that the appeal would be a bit broader. TikTok was from the beginning pretty much a cornerstone of that. And I think also early on, we really benefited from your guys' personality here, where you were giving us constant advice. You were giving us the best practices. But I think also one thing that we should not underestimate is also that you guys were very proactive in pushing us into new products. I know this must have been a lot of fighting on the back end of TikTok for us, and I'm very grateful for that. And overall, this made us very, very excited also to work on TikTok. Just next to the numbers, also seeing your engagement with us really pushed this forward.
I completely agree that was also a game changer. So there's a difference, and we'll get into it later. on the creative strategy, and as you mentioned, the willingness to start something new. But it was also the cooperation, right? We started with a self-serve platform, like everyone, testing the waters. But then there's a moment where the cooperation comes in and everything changes. This thing of, well, did you guys give an excellent? You guys did an excellent job guiding us through everything, giving us some strategy suggestions, and that is one of the big stuff. One of the big points, giving us the opportunity to test new stuff, was in the long run a game changer for us as well.
That's very interesting. Before moving on to more questions, I just want to remind the audience that they can leave the questions in the comments, and at the end, if we have time, we can answer them. So, David, you mentioned something about creatives. Now, let's talk about the creative strategy. How do you do a good creative for TikTok?
It kind of depends, right? I would like to say that it depends because I can talk about our experience, and this might not work for other companies, and we know that it might not work for other companies. But at least for us, a good creative doesn't look like a creative. If I'm explaining myself, it is a creative for TikTok is raw, it is barely edited. It's like a TikTok clip, right? It has sound, so music, for example, or voiceover. I would like to actually share one example of one of the creatives that we used that has been very successful during the past few months, and was actually one of the first ones. It was something that we were trying to do to try to get into the platform, because at the time we were not being successful. So we were trying, as many advertisers do, other creatives that we had for other platforms like Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram. And at some point we decided that, or we weren't being successful with that, and we tried a more native approach. And the native approach for us is something that anyone could do with their phones, using just their voice and some music and a little bit of explanation. So I'll let the creative talk by itself, because I can keep talking about it, but an image is better, or a video in this case is better. So just give me 1 second. And you guys can confirm that you can see my screen. So I'll go ahead and show it.
Hey, what's up, TikTok? These are reasons why you should be playing Conflict of Nations Part 2. So Conflict of Nations is a World War III strategy game where you can simulate any World War III scenario you can think of. In this case, I'm going to try to invade the almighty China with Vietnam. Oh, I have to declare war. Well, let's do it. Just click the link below and play for free right now.
So as dumb as that seems, it was very successful because it allowed us to communicate with the audience on TikTok. And I mean, you guys tell me if I'm right or wrong. I also don't see a lot of advertisers doing this right now, which is also surprising, right?
That is a very good example, and you absolutely prove the concept that the most successful auction ad don't look or don't feel like ad. It sounds, it feels, it looks like a TikTok.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe you guys were definitely among the first to fully embrace, I think, the platform, also from a user perspective. So you actually acted, I think, proper like a user posting their own content. And in this case, it's very informative. It's also very, very spontaneous. If we can maybe break down a bit the elements of the creative that you show, I think there's a strong intro where you just clearly explain what is the video about. So you are able to capture the attention in those 3-4 seconds. And then there's voiceover, which I think it's clearly, I think, give the pace of the video and explain everything in a very I think easy to digest language, and coupled with the text overlay, that's I think made it I think the perfect combination of visual elements and sounds. And at the end of it, you close with a call to action. So I think you have included in I think 15-20 seconds all the elements that we consider as best practice. And technically, we got you a bit, but I think the creative side came directly from you. So it was definitely your merit to come up with that creative that definitely I think was quite successful, and consider still to date quite a best practice and a reference for many of our advertisers.
So thank you so much for talking about the creatives. It is a super interesting story. I love it. I've heard it sometimes, but I really like how the TikToks are really, they look homemade. They look like part of the content from TikTok, which, as you mentioned, Matteo, and also you have published some information like that, where TikTok doesn't really sell advertisement. Like, you are really working towards doing content that entertains, educate people more than just selling, which I find very, very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think over a year ago, we launched our "Don't Make Ads, Make TikTok" model. That's I think at that time was taken with a bit of skepticism from the market, especially in an industry that was, I think, used to very different formats in terms of ads, and they were also seeing as sometimes disruptions or disturbing the user experience. While I think the new paradigm that we are trying to push forward on TikTok is that video ads and TikTok should be considered as an integral part of the user experience, something that people want to interact with and they don't want to skip or feel disrupted by.
And it makes a lot of sense, and also I think it's way more efficient. It feels more genuine. So kudos for that. So let's talk a little bit more about the result of these campaigns. I know we cannot go much into detail, but Linus and David, I would love if you share a little bit on how do you know if a campaign is successful?
You muted yourself.
I muted myself, sorry. So surprisingly, one of the KPIs that initially we thought it was interesting was actually marketing budgets, because as you mentioned, Matteo, as well, TikTok is kind of a special thing, right? It is not, or it was not when it was launched, nothing compared to any other thing that was in the market, right? And the platform demands its own special type of creative. And when we started trying to adapt creatives from other platforms, we were not even able to spend those budgets, right? So that was the main challenge at the beginning. We were using other types of creatives and they were not picking up. We cannot spend the budgets there. So our main success budget at the beginning, our main success KPI at the beginning was budget spend. So that's when we made the change of creatives from other types of creatives to TikTok clips, let's say. And that's when we noticed that we could advertise in this platform. We were able to allocate the budgets and we were able to reach users that way. We also think that we consider a success that we were able to reach a new and younger audience and introduce it to our games, because our fan base or our player base is usually male and on the older spectrum of age. And as Linus mentioned at the beginning, TikTok is not strong on those ages and demographics, right? But we still made it work for our games. So we like to think that we were able to reach a new and younger audience with this. And finally, I think another success we like to think about is that we also are generating content. So we're generating content when we post these videos, when we advertise these videos. There's a lot of discussion in these videos. There are people discussing about hypothetical history scenarios, maybe some modern war scenarios, usually in a civilized manner, which is astonishing in the internet realm. So we're also proud of that, and we consider that a success.
I think as advertising has a goal at the end of the day, which mostly is to convert into sales, but As we have also, we talked previously about how making this type of content that looks so genuine and that is entertaining and fun, Bytro has also growth and strengthened its community, right? So it's not only a benefit that we're bringing new people inside the games, but also, as you said, we're creating content, and now this is also helping bringing our community together, which is amazing.
But again, it was our solution. We were successful with this, but it might not fit all the companies, and it might work for not all the companies. Maybe you guys tried this approach with other clients and it didn't work, or maybe another approach worked. So it depends always. We can give our little experience, but then everyone has to experiment and see what works for them.
We are really proud to have you on our platform as discoverer and the trendsetter. We definitely try to replicate your success, and we have few followers, which is definitely great. And you discovered this end of last year, and this trend is still working. And we know that this will develop because you follow the main trends or the main ideas of the TikTok native ads. So that's definitely, absolutely golden for us.
So now, David, you mentioned that what worked for Bytro might not work for other companies, and I guess both Olha and Mateo know that this is true. So regarding that, can you give any advice to anyone or any individual or any company that are trying or thinking about advertising on TikTok? It would be great if each can give an advice.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe I can start. So from my side, I think taking forward from the successful experience of Bytro, but also from what I see from other successful example of clients, I can definitely tell you that, in my opinion, one of the first thing to consider when thinking about advertising on TikTok is to try to embrace to the fullest yourself the platform. Try to download it, try to open it, try to experience it and understand how it works. And I would definitely recommend to go into the discovery section and look for relevant keywords that are related to your niche, to your industry, and find content that are relevant for you, right? So try to see which one are driving engagement, awareness, and all the KPI that might be relevant for you inside the app. And also try to check what actual type of content are working within that niche, so that you can definitely take it as an inspiration, but also as something that you might want to test yourself. And because you saw that is already working for some similar business or in that same type of niche. So that's something I think really easy that anybody can start doing it, maybe taking 1 hour of your time, and you already have, I think, a pretty good market research data to prove and see what can you try yourself on our platform.
Then I'll maybe go next, and I will go from the practical side. I would say always sound on, make it real, and make it TikTok native, because your creative is your key in communication with the user.
That's great advice. From the Bytro side, David and Linus, do you have any to give to these individuals or companies that are thinking to advertise on TikTok?
Definitely the biggest learning that I had with the TikTok experience was that I need to challenge my preconceptions a little bit more. I mentioned before that we had a test with TikTok before with Call of War, before we had the big success with Conflict of Nations. And we went into the platform with the expectation this will be hard, this might even be impossible with Call of War. And we did the first test, didn't work out, and we actually stopped. So we didn't invest anything further. We didn't try to make it work at that time. And it took the second chance with the Conflict of Nations launch to generate the learnings and actually make it work. So for me, the biggest advice, no matter what game you have, especially if you have a niche game, go into the platform open-minded and be ready to learn on how to talk to people on TikTok. Kind of goes in line with what the TikTok guys already said, but this is really the most crucial thing, I would say.
And before David gives it advice, can you mention just how many months have Bytro's been advertising on TikTok? Just to give an idea to the audience how much time we've been experimenting with that, just so they know that it was not an overnight success.
Yeah, so with the first game, we tried it for 1.5 months, I believe. In total, tried to make it work. As David already mentioned, we were not really able to generate any kind of meaningful volume of users coming in, which was unfortunate. But then, starting with Country of Nations, we tried it in a similar way, and we failed in a very similar way. But we also already had the mindset to iterate very, very quickly. The first approach was actually just to voice over our own clips with ourselves before we went completely TikTok native. And that happened in a matter of 2 months in total. And then we were there. So it can go quickly if you have the right idea.
Awesome. David?
So I'll actually cheat, and I'll elaborate on the Matteo one. So I'll give half an advice, and then I'll give my own advice. So going into the Matteo one, Matteo said, go into the platform, check what it's there, and chances are that someone already created something, right? I think this can be a very valid point if you have to convince someone that you want to advertise on TikTok. That kind of happened to us. Linus mentioned, right? We said, we want to advertise on TikTok, and everyone laughed at us. But then we proved them wrong, right? But if you have a product or a game, chances are that someone already created content there, so you can justify that your audience is there. If there's content already there, right? There's people interested in your game, people interested in your product. You can show, hey, people that are trying to reach are already there, so I could use this as leverage to try to advertise on TikTok. That was my point 5 advice. My real advice would be, and to give a little bit of context, creatives on TikTok saturate a lot faster than other platforms, way faster. So you might see yourself updating campaigns more than once a week. So you might find yourself updating creatives more or refreshing campaigns more than actually creating new campaigns. So my suggestion would be create as much content as you can, because that way you'll always have a new creative to refresh the campaign and keep the campaigns alive.
Oh, thank you all for your advice. Now, Matteo and Ola, why should anyone give TikTok advertising a try?
Yeah, I try to give maybe a couple of reasons. So the first one is that in a world where I think, especially in digital advertising, like user attention became like the sort of a golden currency and difficult to grasp. I think TikTok right now, it's a true gold mine for user attention and engagement. So in this case, you can definitely be sure that on average, people spend over 70 minutes in our app. So that's quite per day. So that's quite a strong testament of how much engagement there's around our content. And that's something that you can definitely tap into, no matter what type of products or services you are. And the second reason, and it's probably, I think from Bytro, they are the living proof of that, is that if you are a performance-driven advertiser that wants to really drive ROI-driven KPI or something that is very performance-oriented, there's actually strong evidence that our platform works, and works because we developed a lot of performance-focused solutions in our platform that helps you to drive any KPI that you want, from deep funnel events to mid funnel or awareness. So I'll be happy to feel free to reach out to me if you have more questions about this, and we can definitely help you to get there.
You said 70 minutes a day?
Yeah, I think the last Apani reports, it's approximately 70, 75, I think globally.
I just did some quick math. That's almost 18 days a year.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's correct. I think the level of engagement inside the app right now, it's really high. It's something probably a lot of people might not consider.
Yeah, and that's only what you have recorded on TikTok, because also we were talking the other day how frequently we see content from TikTok in other platforms. Like all my Instagram stories or the Instagram Reels are people sharing videos from TikTok using the TikTok editor, or just replicating, like having their content on that platform and also sharing it somewhere else. So it is quite impressive the reach that this platform has, definitely.
Maybe that links to one more reason why you can go to TikTok and try out advertising, because it's not only a social platform, it has become entertainment platform. If you are the follower, you can come to the platform and find out so much fun. If you're a creator, you can come to the platform and discover the trends. If you're a small business or if you're an enterprise, you can come and discover so many trends and insights that you can use in your campaign and encourage and increase your audience and the potential of your campaign. And maybe a bit more stats that can make the platform even more attractive, that on a monthly basis we have more than 100 active users, 100 million active users for European market only, and TikTok is available in more than 150 countries and 75 plus languages. Yeah, the reach and opportunity is here. You're welcome.
That's awesome. Now, these are all the topics that we have for today, but we still have some more minutes to answer any questions from the audience if there's any. So I have the chat right here.
While you check, I also wanted to give one reason why TikTok, why people should try it. And actually, it relates to Mateo's report from App Annie. So you mentioned that 70 minutes per day. That report, I don't know if it's exactly the same, also mentions that people on average in the US with Android phones spend more time on TikTok than YouTube. YouTube. So it overtook it this year. And if you think about YouTube, everyone advertises on YouTube. We're all used to the ads coming up before the videos that you want to see. But now TikTok is overtaking that powerhouse of advertising. So I think that is one very interesting reason why you should also think about TikTok.
And remember, it was one of the top 3 fastest growing companies in 2020. So I think those stats speak for themselves. I don't see any questions for the audience yet, but just for you to know, Mateo's and Olha contact information will be in the description below. Right now you don't see it, but after the call, after the meeting, in a few minutes you'll have all the information there. And also if you want to leave your email address in the comment below, we can just send you an email with all their information. So that's all for today, guys. It was, we have a question. Yes, we do have a question from Diego Guadarrama. Do you have stats on how lucrative the audience in TikTok is, or how the audience compares against Instagram in terms of how likely they are to purchase?
We definitely have. We definitely have those a few stats in that regard. I think we need to definitely check exactly how the likelihood it's measured. In general, we, in terms of data sharing, we can, I think, share that type of sensitive information only through an NDA. But if that's something that you're interested into, please feel free to reach out to us, and we will be happy to arrange a follow-up so that we can discuss more in detail those data and what type of use case would you need.
Awesome. Remember, then you also can leave your email address and we'll hit you with an email so we can start the conversation. But if there's no more questions from the audience, then that's all for today, guys. It was lovely having you. Thank you so much for your time and disposition to all 4 panelists, and also thank you so much for tuning in to everyone in the audience. Remember, this video will still stay recorded, so if you want to check it out later, you can do so. That's all, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. See you until the next panel. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys.